Hello and welcome back to the United Enigma. This is a big one right now. We've literally just found out, we found out yesterday that the Jim Ratcliffe, he apparently is one step away from fully taking over Man United with that 25% stake. Of course, whether or not it gives him complete control of the club, that's left to be seen. But we're a step away from our hopes and dreams being crushed at a Qatar takeover that's going to finance the debt, invest in the infrastructure of Man United, and overall, what seemed to be most likely to get us back to where we feel like we deserve as United fans. Of course, we have Worthy again from the Stretford Royals back again, but this time,
Yo,
making his debut on the channel, we've got TJ, aka one of the main admins, also on the Stretford Royals. Say hi to the people, TJ. Oh, TJ? TJ?
I think he accidentally muted himself. I think.
TJ?
Who's this guy? I
Well,
think he got scared now cooking.
apparently can't hear. Anyway, we're just moving swiftly on. So Pogba season's already come out. Man saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe out. I completely and utterly echo that sentiment from yourself. I am going to cook when it comes down to my turn. But you know what? I'm gonna leave the guests to first have their say on what's going on. So Worthy, give me your opinion on what's happening now with the takeover.
Well, I still have confidence Shekhin's can win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I think Shekhin will come back with a bid. I don't know why. It's a feeling, but I think he will come back.
Are you
But
sure that you're not
for
just
me,
coping? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna read out some of the statements from the latest news from the reputable journalists who have been in and around the story, and I'm
yeah,
telling you, people, it is not looking good, bruv. So you may be smoking on that copium. I might want some of what you're having right now, mate. But you know what? You have your own
yeah.
opinion. So tell me why you feel as if Sir Jassim still has a hope and a chance of winning and purchasing this club from the
I
Glazers.
mean, yeah. I mean, first, like we've seen the Arabs, yeah, they don't like losing.
Mm-hmm.
As an Arab myself, we don't like you losing. So I think he will try a bid again
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't like losing simply, and it's like bad reputation for his dad and himself because they're like such
Mm-hmm.
higher up. Secondly, we've seen it with the Newcastle. There was like a report when Saudi were trying to buy Newcastle. Bloomberg, Reuters all reported that Saudi are out. Like they're not bidding again for Newcastle, or they're out of the
Mm-hmm.
deal for Newcastle. And 2 weeks later, it turns out they're back in. So I think the same thing's going to happen here.
You know what?
I'm hoping the board can reject Ratcliffe. Yeah, sorry.
You know what? Quite frankly, what you just said there actually, you know what? Cool. It does actually make a level of sense. And quite frankly, I have heard that that is what happened with the Newcastle takeover. At the sort of 11th hour, there was that news report that came out and it said, cool, Saudis have pulled out, whatever was happening with Mike Ashley, some, maybe just the narrative was that they pulled out, they weren't happy with the goings on of the negotiations, and, they pulled out and they had lost interest in acquiring Newcastle. And what happens? Boom. We hear not long after that the Saudis had acquired Newcastle. So this could be a similar sort of thing, maybe used as another tactic to leech more money from Sheikh Jassim. Is that what you're saying
Mm-hmm.
basically? Do you think that's just purely them trying to leech more money from the Qataris, saying that
Yeah.
we're going to put it out there in full swing that we're going to go for Surgeon Ratcliffe's bid? These guys were drawn, basically almost outing him as being like the man who lost this war of attrition, the man who lost, the man who pulled out, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, this guy that's much inferior to you in terms of influence and even wealth as well, has just come and swept United from under your noses. Are you saying that is just a story to push the Qataris over the edge into doing something they maybe don't want to do in terms of how much money they're willing to spend?
Yeah. So first of all, yeah, usually in these circles, I don't know if it's like legal or not, but usually the loser has to come out with a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So not seeing Sheikh Jassim coming out with a statement, it's kind of sketchy for me. Like, why did he not come out with a statement? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the reports of him like pulling out, maybe it's true. I think it is true pulling out. I think he did the right decision. I think he'll make the Glazers think about what they picked because I think if I'm right, he offered them £5.8 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and which is a lot of money. I think Glazers should have, accepted it, but no, the Glazers are greedy as hell, so they didn't accept it.
You know what? Yeah, let me actually just have a word on this stuff because yesterday I was so pissed. So pissed, more pissed than I've been in a long time. Of course, I spoke to you privately in the Discord chat, and I was just saying,
Mhm.
where do we go from here? Is what I was thinking. Just where do we go from here? Because honestly speaking, it's like, how do you actually make it out of this rut? How do you actually make it out? Because nobody in life, people need to get this into their heads. Nobody in life has a divine right to winning. You earn the right to win in all fields of life. No one has a divine. You have to earn the right to win. So just because we're Man United, biggest club in England, arguably the biggest club in the world, does not mean we are going to win the Premier League now, next year, or the year after. Doesn't work like that. Like I said to you privately, Liverpool have gone 30 years before winning that Premier League. We're already 10. Last time we won the Premier League, I was in flipping primary school, about to finish primary school. Now I've finished uni. You get that, yeah?
Mad.
You get that? That's already a decade gone. We ain't won shit. What's to say we ain't going to win shit again for another 2 decades? Liverpool did it. Were they not the biggest team winning Champions Leagues, league title after title after title in the 70s and 80s? What happened? You clearly see they don't have a divine right to winning. Why do we? So so I went from stages of being angry to now just purely almost just, the stages of grief, like anger, then you go through like the depression phase, and then you just become almost numb to it. I'm at the more sort of depression phase of things because I genuinely don't know what's coming next. I don't know. I just don't have any foresight. I can't even imagine a world in which we go out there and win a major honor. Tell me your current feelings on the matter. Just where do you go from here? Do you think Jim Ratcliffe can actually do anything of merit for us? And as you say, Ahmad, bro, I want whatever you're having, Worthy, please help me out. Please make me feel better about this, bro. Tell me.
Yeah. Right, so just want to say a thing. Yeah. So I was watching. Okay, so I know Ratcliffe is bad, and like his offer's bad. He's bad for the club. But me and TJ like watching MUFC. We like watching Jay Rhodes a lot. And when we watch Jay Rhodes, in his video, he's explaining that Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe saved up £4.5 billion for investment, which is a good thing. £4.5 billion should last us 3 to 5 years. Like, we should spend that on stadium, training grounds, and players. Another key point is I was talking to someone this morning. You know Abu Asim?
Abu Asim. Oh yes, the scout you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's not the scout, man. He's a Twitter guy that
Oh, okay.
He was close to the sale.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah. I was talking to him this morning. He said yes. Sir James Ratcliffe. Yeah, his deal is 3 to 4 years, and then Glazers are gone. But he buys the shares. But the Glazers, I think what he said the Glazers are going to do, they're going to say anyone can buy our shares, not just you. So I think what the Glazers are going to do after 3 or 4 years, they're going to do a bidding war again for their shares. So we could potentially see. I don't think it will happen, but we could potentially see Sheikh Jassim coming back and trying to buy those shares and buying the whole club's shares. Trying, but personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think there will be a bidding war for Glazers shares in 3 to 4 years, but I don't think Sheikh Jassim will come back. I think he'll probably buy West Ham or something.
Okay.
By now, but yeah.
Okay, you know what? I understand what you're getting at. Is just a second, TJ, are you there at all?
Yeah.
Okay, go on, bro. So I'm sure you've heard some of what Worthy said. He has the feeling that potentially, the Qataris could come back in 3 to 4 years, which is the stated period that apparently Jim Ratcliffe will come back in. He's going to have the 25%. He's going to come back in apparently in a couple of years, maybe having gotten more investment, set aside more money to be able to come back and buy a majority of the remainder of Manchester United from the Glazers, their part ownership of it. However, my feelings on it is Jake Jackson was going to come in straight away and obviously take us completely off of the stock market. So there wouldn't be all this nonsense of shares. There would be none of this nonsense of, Man United having all these shareholders and all this crap being involved in the club. And that's something I wanted. Do you think, and do you echo the sentiment that Sheikh Jackson could come back in 3 to 4 years and try to buy the shares that may be put on for a bid in a couple of years?
No, I think it's practically impossible. I don't think he would do it. I think Ratcliffe, if he gets his foot in the door, I think he'll get the whole club eventually. Whether that's 3 to 6 years, whether it's 1 to 2 years for majority, I think if Ratcliffe gets his foot in the door, he'll get the whole club. No one else will come in for it then.
Yeah, that's exactly what I believe in. And also on the level of a pride sort of thing, the person that you were competing against being Ratcliffe the entirety of this bidding process, why would you be okay with him winning 25%, of course, through this initial purchase, and then you come back in to have the other 69%, I believe they mentioned, you buy it off of the Glazers, but Ratcliffe, the person you're competing against, is still owning a portion of what you believed a few years back was supposed to be your property. As someone that we've talked to them, being quite proud people, why would you want to have the person that's competing against you still having some sort of affiliation to what you deem to be yours? This is my club. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, I think if Jassim won't give the Glazers 20% to stay and he gets 80, I don't understand why he would do it for Ratcliffe in a few years. I don't think it makes any sense at all. I think I think it's impossible for him to get the club now. But if he did, I just think that would be it. I don't think there's any second chances for him. I think this is his only chance. And it's the only time the club will be up for sale within the next 10 to 20 years again.
10, 20. Yo, but you know what? You weren't, you may not have been on the street, able to hear at the time, but I was speaking to Worthy just before you've come back on now, and I literally mentioned that, when we've last won a major trophy, I was finishing up with primary school and now I've finished up with uni, and this shit's happened, and still haven't won anything of notoriety. And then now you're mentioning 10, 20 years. Maybe the next time we win something decent, I'll be married with kids. So this is the kind of shit we're talking about and we're dealing with right now as United fans. So before we continue quickly, if I just read out this comment. So AJ said, long day, Glazers need to go. There has to be a riot at a Man United game. People don't understand numbers have power. Do you guys think that this is the point where Man United fans need to actually take this into our own hands now and say enough is enough? Look what Ajax did playing against their bitter rivals. Is it Feyenoord that are big rivals of Ajax? I believe it's a Feyenoord. Yeah, the match against Feyenoord, they're there getting pumped 3-0 by them. Man just locked off the game, battered down the stadium, rioting everywhere, telling them that enough is enough. You can't get away with. At clubs like an Ajax, places like a Marseille in France, all these a lot of the teams in the French league, a lot of teams across Europe, German league, Turkish league, you can't get away. In any other country, I guarantee you the Glazers would have been run out of town ages ago. You can't get away with this shit in other countries, in other clubs. Imagine trying this at Real Madrid as well. You're getting ripped to shreds. The fact that at Manchester United are meant to be the biggest club in the world, we are allowing people to pull our pants down time and time and time again. It just shows to me that many members of this fan base just aren't serious, in my opinion. I can't lie.
I think we need to the 1958 should have to gather every fan base, fan channel in Twitter, or even match going fans. We need to gather them all, and then we need to protest outside the stadium or something and not go in. Don't let anyone go in the stadium.
Okay, so you're
even if Ajax. Sorry.
No, go on.
If Ajax if Ajax are destroying their own stadium, they against Feyenoord, I'm pretty sure there was videos of them destroying their own stadium. That's how angry they were.
Yeah.
I think we should be able. We need to empty Old Trafford, possibly raid the pitches every match.
So
that should make. Yeah. So
sorry about that. So I just wanted to bring TJ in here to sort of have his own opinion on, for example, what you have just said. What do you think the fans could do more of or should do more of to have an influence? And combined with that, do you think we're even capable of influencing this at all?
I think the only possible way would be to raid the pitch. I don't think the empty Old Trafford thing actually works at all, because there's too many people from other countries who don't ever go to get to see United, and then when they do, they're not going to sit outside when someone has to take their seat if they don't go. And I think the 58, I think they're more about publicity than anything. The sit-in protest, I mean, that's pointless.
Yeah,
that doesn't achieve anything by staying in your seat, staying in the stadium where you've paid to be. Like, the Glazers won't care. You've paid to go to the match and then you're just staying in. Like, they don't care if they have to close the ground 2 hours later. It doesn't bother them. You're paying your money to be there, and that's all that matters to them.
Exactly, bro. That what you just said there is the key thing for me. Some of the things whether you mentioned, I believe, is that could work. You know, like raiding the pitches. If you're steadfast enough in actually trying to stop people getting into the stadium, I think that could work as well, because shit would kick off if that continued to happen routinely. Only thing you could say is, you could argue, is maybe a police presence would swiftly stop that from happening once they catch wind of that continuing to happen. Only thing I didn't really agree with, though, is, for example, what TJ mentioned, which would be the sit-in, because fam, you've already paid. You're paid and you're sat there. At that point, the Glazers are just laughing at you. Who cares? Laughing at you. They got the cigars out. They don't give a shit. They got the cigars out. They're just looking at you, smoking and laughing at the TV, saying, these men are sat there. They've already paid. They've renewed the season tickets. I couldn't care less. Yes, it looks bad on TV, but you saw what happened with is it the Buccaneers they own, right? The Buccaneers. You saw them with the Buccaneers in America, their other club that they own. Their fans there were literally selling off their season tickets, protesting, didn't give a flying fuck, because you sell those season tickets, someone else is just gonna pick it up. Until you truly and truly hurt that pocket, they don't care about their reputation. They don't care about that. It's the minute there's actual monetary loss and tangible monetary loss involved, that's when they care. Which is why now that Manchester United, the stadium needs repairing, which will go into the news that has been broken about what Jim Ratcliffe was planning to do what the Sheikh was planning to do in terms of the stadium. When real money loss is involved, like right now we've got the debt, the amount of money we need to spend on transfers accumulation over time. Now they're going out looking for investment to sell the club, because they're worried and scared about the future of this club without outside money coming in. Now you've finally seen a change. This already shows you the blueprint on how to get rid of them.
Well, like the season ticket line, there's thousands of people who want season tickets. If someone else gave up their season ticket, someone else would be straight back in lifetime. Like, you won't get that opportunity again. Planet Faz from United Stand, he tweeted about 20 minutes ago saying, so basically, if I give up my season ticket, then Sheikh Jassim will come back and put a higher bid in, and the Glazers will leave, won't they? He's right. Like, him giving up his season ticket means it would take him years if he even ever did get it back.
Yeah.
And Jim Ratcliffe will still own the club.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what, like, because it's not the same in England as it is in other countries with ultras. In Italy, you have your ultras for AC Milan and Inter Milan. Same with Ajax. In England, you don't really have ultras.
Yeah.
It's not a thing, especially with a big club like United, where you have a lot of worldwide fans. You're not going to have many ultras. You have your top reds who go to matches.
Yeah, but even them lot,
that's not a portion of the stadium.
Yeah, even those lot, the top reds, they're nowhere near as hardcore as those ultras you're mentioning. Those are the guys that they'll literally, they're actually, those ultras are arguably even more powerful than any of the owners at the club. Like, if you don't have the ultras on side at the Milan clubs, for example, like you mentioned, if you don't have them man on side, you're finished at the club as an owner. They'll get you gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't have anything even remotely similar to that in terms of power in the fan base. We call ourselves Manchester United, but you have to admit, it's so divided. There's never been one moment that Man United fans have ever been able to rally up and truly like do one thing in unison, whether it's support a manager, no, the certain players in the squad or the squad in totality, no, the owners, no, anything going on in and around the club, nothing. There's nothing that is ever a majority consensus in the fan base to support this movement. Never happened at this club. Because everyone has their own narratives, everyone's too opinionated, everyone just is never able to move in one direction at anything. It's just a mess at the moment. If I just actually highlight this comment before I look at some of the other ones. So this Pogba season, he's just put this comment. He's saying, I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to spend 300 million this January to win the fans. I don't know if worthy of you passed some of whatever you're smoking to this guy, but it seems that way. Anyway, Webby, what do you think about this message Pogba's put in?
I think he wouldn't spend 300 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think 300 million. I think 300 million is too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's going to make signings in the January to win over the fans, because the fans right now, we don't want him.
Yeah.
And how do you distract that? By spending money. So he is obviously going to spend money on like getting players, but I'm still Ratcliffe out, and I don't want him. And yeah, I'm hoping till this day, man, Qatar come in and bid, but I still have faith. My gut feelings feel like Qatar are gonna come in with a bid, but yeah.
I hope and pray that you're correct, but I just doubt it. So, for example, what was always worrying me about this whole situation, is, for example, what I'm seeing here, which is via TalkSport, mentioned that Joel and Avram GLAZER have always been reluctant to just straight up outright sell this club. And you could kind of feel that, that's why that potential entry option for Sir Jim Ratcliffe always seemed to be an avenue for him to gain access to the club, because Joel and Avram specifically did not ever want to leave this club. So what I would say is that, how can we ever hope to trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe when the man was constantly changing his bid? First of all, he was trying to match, in terms of monetarily match the bid to outright buy the club in the beginning. Then he realized that was never going to work out, because Qataris would always be able to outbid him and he would never be able to get near them. They probably outbidded him maybe by the end of it, close to maybe like $1 billion more, or at least hundreds of millions more than what Ratcliffe put in as his final bid to outright buy the club. But then Joel and Avram always gave him the get out of jail free card. And over time, you've been up to date with this story, he's constantly been changing his bid. Now he's talking about buying 25%. I'm going to come back in a couple of years and go and get the rest of it. What's to say he's actually going to come back and buy the rest of it? Because I believe there could be potential break clauses in the contract somewhere, where if things go south at any point, the Glazers can decide to detach the agreement. Oh no, we no longer want you to buy the remainder. We're going to hold on to this now. Let's say Man United do actually get to a point where we're doing better on the pitch. We've maybe won something decent by this point now, in a couple of years, 3-4 years. And Avram and Joel are like, yo, we're not leaving. Yo, I think this dream of the club being valued at 10 billion in the future may actually come to pass. So you know what, Jim? We'll buy back that 25% you've got. And in another 5 to 10 years, we'll sell this club instead for 5-6 billion for 10 billion. How about that? Why can't that happen? Let me know. So
I don't think
yes.
I don't think they would entertain it. I don't think they'd allow it. I think Muppeteers just put out a tweet a few minutes ago, and he was saying that are going to wait for any official statements before engaging with the fans and telling them what they're going to do with the club. And I think it's very important that people don't jump on the train of you're not going to spend any money or anything like this. Like with Nice, the average spend during the 10 years before Ineos bought them was 9.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 5 seasons after, it was 53 million.
Okay.
It's gone up 563%.
Okay.
For a club that makes less than 10 million, spends less than 10 million a year, and then brings it up to 53 million a year. And they're now really going well. Their board is really good. Good director of football, good structure, paying off for them this year. Muppeteer said
Yeah,
he doesn't plan on selling Nice yet, but that could eventually run into some problems with the way they were going this year. Looked like they could get into Europe, so let's see what happens with it.
I know there could potentially be some UEFA regulations and stipulations which would prohibit, obviously, two clubs owned by one organization to have to be in the same competition. Because obviously, if Nice ended up playing Man United, which like next season, for example, that'd be so dodgy. I can't lie. I mean, hopefully it can help. I swear Todibo plays for Nice though, right?
Yeah.
Ratcliffe, if there's one thing you can do, just go get me Todibo and bounce afterwards. That's what I want, man.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Maybe Thuram.
Maybe. So we'll actually and who? Wait, what'd you say?
Pardon?
Well, no, what'd you say? I think I didn't hear what you said just then.
Oh, I think we need to remember that I think this is confirmed there. Ratcliffe, I think Jared's confirmed this. Ratcliffe has 4.5 billion to either invest into Manchester United. I think 4.5 billion, 2.5 billion of that could get us a stadium and a training ground.
Yeah.
And I think the other 2 billion can be used into local communities and transfers and new board and that. So I'm not worried over the money side of things. I'm worried about how long will the Glazers stay? I think they can stay for 10 years. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the money. You can clearly tell the money is there to spend, but it's the Glazers, man. That's what I'm worried about. That's why I don't like his bid. It's just the Glazers.
Yeah, that's. I think that is the main reason why most people are upset is the fact that the Glazers are going to remain. And the thing is, just I do have to echo, because you know what, you want to be somewhat balanced at the end of the day. I must echo what TJ was saying, which is obviously here we maybe don't want to jump the gun because you don't know exactly what his plans are for Manchester United, which he's at some point going to release a statement, or Ineos will release a statement through him that will outline what he's planning to do with the club. So similar to, that statement that was put out long time back, some months back ago, by the 9-2 Foundation and Sheikh Jassim, right? That where he spoke about what he was going to do. We need something like that, a complete comprehensive breakdown of what this man is planning to do with the club, because I want to know the intricate details. Are you going to actually buy the club? What's the time frame you're looking to do it at? What's your plans for Carrington? What's your plans for Old Trafford? What's your plans in terms of how high do you want to get Manchester United to in status, sort of thing? Where do you want to get us back to the top? Because Sheikh Jassim was very, very clear about trying to bring us straight back to the pinnacle of football. He's never come out and said anything really about bringing us back to the top in that regard. All he talked about is putting the Manchester back in Manchester United. I'm like, brother, shut your mouth. Tell me about football. I want to hear about Manchester and Manchester. We've got loads of fans who aren't from Manchester. Tell me about football. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's what I need to hear more. And you know what? Maybe it'll put my mind somewhat a bit more at ease if it comes out. Because let's call a spade a spade. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe was going to come out and buy the club in its entirety, it would still be better than keeping the Glazers. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
Let's not blow it out of proportion. I do not think there's a possibility that this guy, anyone comes in spending billions and billions of pounds just to take it backwards. You are coming here, yes, to make an investment and purchase something that you want. However, he's still a businessman. He wants to very much make money out of the club. And the only way to do that, especially since Man United are on the downturn, is by bringing us back up. That's the only way he makes real money from us. So, in a way, I do really need to see what he's planning to do with the club. And you know what? If he's saying the right things and he's actually follows through with the stuff that we can see in the short term, maybe his long-term vision won't be that bad. What do you think about that, TJ and Wed?
I think he would Carrington.
Sorry, carry on, TJ. Carry on, TJ. So
I think he would try to improve Carrington and the training facilities before he'd go near Old Trafford, because I think he'd want time to actually assess Old Trafford and see whether it's worth revamping or just building a completely new stadium, because I think they'll put in a lot of money for the first few years, and then he might eventually look to take out dividends to recuperate a bit of money. Like he took 75 million out of Mercedes this year.
Wait a second. Jim Ratcliffe took out 75 M's this year from Nice.
But not from Mercedes, the F1 team.
Oh, from okay.
He only owns 33% of that, so that's a lot of money for not a very big share.
That is.
I think he's one of the minority holders of. He actually went to buy majority of Mercedes, but someone else bid for like a majority, and then he bid for the lower, and he like inflated the value highly, like he's doing for this one as well.
Why does he keep on using these underhanded techniques to win? What is wrong with it? You know what? Yeah, I swear. The more you think about it, it just seems like a proper scumbag, you know. And the only way a scumbag is good is if he's your scumbag. But the thing we don't know yet is he gonna be working with us or against us? Because when a scumbag is working with you, like it could be a good asset to have on your side of the field. But when a scumbag is playing against you, and from the inside as well, like he would be, we could be in for a rough ride.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah, go on, DJ. I'm sorry, Worthy.
I mean, like we missed out on the chance of getting like completely new ownership. Like we missed out on the chance of Man City ownership, which I think, like, I'll blame it on fans, because I'll blame it on us as fans that we couldn't get Qatar. If we would have like protest the stadiums, if we'd have just like did more protests, if we just, like, you know, raided the pitches, then I think we would have Qatar by now.
Mm-hmm.
Because Glazers would see they couldn't make any money, so they just give it to Qatar, and it will make like a more sound from the fans, like what they want. And yeah, but I guess even Mark Goldbridge said it this morning, not this morning, last night. He was like, "I blame it on us, the fans, because we didn't help Qatar. We wanted Qatar, but we didn't help them at all."
But that's the thing is but then now you've got the people that are sucking off Jim Ratcliffe coming out talking about, oh yes, we won this, we won that. The funny thing is, you guys tell me your opinion on this, but personally, there is no clean billionaire. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
There is no like when you get to that level of wealth, I'm sorry, like that's not normal amounts of money. You do not reach that level of influence and wealth without having, you know, without having stepped on people to get there at some point. So when you're talking about not wanting Qatari influence at the club because of any negative connotations you have about the country, it could be more insidious things which we won't get into, or it could be as simple as you've heard about some perceived atrocities that has been committed in that part of the world, and you're using that as a stick to beat Sheikh Jassim with, not looking into the fact that Ineos, what they've been doing in terms of, I believe there was reports of sort of dangerous waste that they've left because of the types of products that they produce. Dangerous waste, you know, pollution, that type of thing, the amount of pollution that they're a part of. So environmentalists, where you at? No comment. That's no problem. It's just little things like this, like look at Chelsea owner Todd Bowley. I bet if you look into Todd Bowley, you'll see dirt. Of course, we all know about Man City's owner. You'll see dirt. Newcastle, even Arsenal with the Kroenke group. Come on now, they've definitely done dirty things in the past. Everyone has. So my opinion, again, if you guys think I'm wrong on it, but my opinion, I would be looking at, who is gonna do the best for this club? One thing that Man United fans have ever been always able to be unanimous on is getting rid of the Glazers. Who's gonna get rid of them? Who's planning on doing the best thing for the club? Because if you look at the morality side of things, that argument can be spun so much to make either side look good or bad. So my thing is just who's going to make the Man United the best. That's who I want. If Sir Jim was going to make Man United the best, I would have wanted him. But in my opinion, he's not, which is why I don't want him. But you guys correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just frustrating, to be honest. I couldn't get should just him. Like, I couldn't, to be honest. Yeah. I literally, I'm not even joking. I had a dream that Justin bid it again. Like,
Man
when I went to
said,
sleep, I had a
man
dream.
said MLK, you know, Martin Luther.
Yeah. 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 So I had a dream that Justin did it again. And literally, I woke up and then, yeah. But that's how like disappointed I am. But yeah, disappointing, to be honest.
Well, like, I think there's a very heavy PR department for the Qatari bid. Like, I don't understand why they're pledging an extra 1.7 billion on top of their bid, because that's just going to show the Glazers they have it, and then they're going to want it. So there's no need for that. Like, we know you're going to invest in the club. It's like with Ratcliffe and Ineos. We know they're going to invest, but they didn't put 2 billion in their pledged. They want the fans on side, so they're going to make a big fat pledge. And then apparently they increased the bid by hundreds of millions. They didn't increase the pledge. They did not increase the bid at all.
So you're saying that the Qataris didn't actually increase the bid from the apparent final bid that was stated to have been placed in, was it June or something?
Yeah.
But Ben Jacobs said that sources told him that they didn't actually increase the bid at all, but they went into new advanced negotiations and they didn't get a breakthrough in it, so they decided to withdraw from there.
Okay, you know what? Let me actually read this from Laurie Whitwell. Laurie Whitwell here. So he said that 6 supporter groups respond to calls from the 1958 to boycott communications with Manchester United. Fan advisory board must Rainbow Devils among those to insist dialogue can work in unison with protests to pressure the Glazers to go / make improvements to the club. That's what Dev said. I'm seeing here.
This is exactly what we need.
The thing is,
we need literally
go on.
Everyone together. We need literally every away fan, away people from like other countries. We need everyone to get in. We need to do our best to, get Glazers out, possibly get Ratcliffe out. I mean, AC Milan, I'm pretty sure AC Milan, when the first week when they got bought, I think it was the first week they bought, they emptied the whole stadium.
Yep.
And the owner said, "Yeah, we're out."
And so, yes, I remember that. I remember that actually. This was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yo, the thing is, at Manchester United, it's not possible. It's not possible for the entirety of the stadium to empty. You'd see, there'd be the most you could get emptying, I feel, is a few thousand. Out of the 75,000 capacity, few thousand, that's at best. It's crazy. And if I just look at this, so just before we swiftly move the conversation on slightly, so from the United plug and Ben Jacobs, understand Ratcliffe, if he gets board approval, will undertake a 100-day review of the club. Eric Ten Hag's job is not thought to be under threat, but a new sporting structure is likely to be considered. Paul Mitchell is one name under consideration for a role as being sporting director, and of course, in tandem with that, apparently, Paul Mitchell has acquired a property in the northwest region of England. Who's in the northwest? Manchester. So, do you guys, because I'm reading the comments here and I'm saying here comes the spin, and I just see a funny gif of a gorilla spinning around on here as well. So yeah, here comes the spin. Or do you guys actually see this as a good thing and you believe that he's actually going to implement a proper sporting structure that's going to allow us to, start to make the best of their money and influence Man United should have, and start actually going out into the transfer window and making smart moves?
I think the 100-day thingy. I mean, you don't even need losses to look at the problems of United. It's literally the board. What fails United is the board.
You need about 24 hours on
the
YouTube.
way it's structured. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just the structure. Like, I don't think 100 days is just mad. I think day one you should sack everyone in the board except Ten Hag. Maybe you could keep Ten Hag if the owners obviously want to. But I think when you're straight in, you need to sack everyone. I think scouts, you keep them because the scouts actually do a good job. Like our scouts are amazing. They just get ignored a lot.
they do get ignored. I do
The
agree with
board
that.
ignores them a lot.
Yeah.
So I would say sack everyone in the board and then get a whole new board system. See, that's why I'm not comfortable with the Ratcliffe bid. It seems like he hasn't planned it out. It seems like he hasn't planned the people he wanted. He put a list for the people he wants to put in, but he hasn't planned it out. Meanwhile, when it was shit just him, he had a whole team that he said is going to be in control of the board.
Yeah, he did. He did. He had
He planned everything out.
He mentioned that he was looking to have the best in class in each position of note to be able to move forward and go on to obviously acquiring the club and all that stuff. So that's what he mentioned. You know what? Honestly speaking, yeah. On Ten Hag, my whole thing, which is why I was of the opinion that I was what you would call Ten Hag doubt. I've been Ten Hag doubt. Not that I want him out, not that I want him in. I was seeing the shoots of promise that, and I believe that he may still be able to turn around our current situation. And I do also think that we've never afforded a manager the opportunity to maybe go past a rut. And I do also think that he should be afforded the chance to, have backing of potentially decent ownership, maybe have a Paul Mitchell that he can work with to get the best outcome in the transfer windows too and stuff like that. But my only issue is now, since the Glazers aren't leaving, I'm sorry, but I'm very, very much laser focused now on Ten Hag, more so than I would have been if they had left. The reason why I am now is for the simple fact that because the Glazers aren't leaving anytime soon, I think that we may struggle, unless Sir Jim Ratcliffe has more influence, which we're yet to see, we may struggle to reach the top again. And because of that, we will need a manager that is capable of literally squeezing blood from a stone, like a Carlo Ancelotti, someone of that level who can maybe some way, somehow, even if the only help he gets additionally is having a decent sporting structure, he can still go out there and maybe win us a Champions League because he's the Champions League GOAT. Is Ten Hag, while still being limited by the Glazers, going to be capable of getting us back to the top or winning a major honour? If you're going off of history, no, because he's never done it before. So that's my only thing now. Like, unless Ten Hag has seen turning this stuff around very soon, I can't lie, I'm gonna have to say that, bro, you might need to walk because you're not gonna be capable of getting us anywhere because the structure won't allow it. So we need someone who may be able to squeeze blood from a stone, and you're not it. Do you guys agree with me on that or not?
Yeah.
I
agree.
So on that subject then, how I've obviously Worthy, this is the first, sorry, not Worthy, TJ, this is the first time you've been on here. So I actually want to know your full-on opinion on the manager as it stands.
I support Ten Hag, I do, but I think now when Ineos come in, or for Worthy if 9-2 bid again, we'll see. Because I've always said, I won't properly judge him until we have new owners or minorities in
exactly.
play.
Yep. Yeah, go on.
I think,
but I think on the I think now with Ineos controlling all sporting matters, I think Ten Hag will at least get this season, no matter how badly things go. Because I don't think there's anyone you can get to replace him. I don't. I think De Zerbi, I don't think he's actually a very good manager.
Yeah, that guy's a charlatan.
I don't really. I wouldn't get
overrated.
The only one I would have even considered was Nagelsmann. That was it.
And now he's got the Germany job, innit?
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone else. I think Ten Hag has done really well with what he's been given. I do think this season he's gotten very unlucky with the injuries. I mean, 16 injuries to first team players out of like a 24-man squad. Pretty outrageous, and something that you never see.
Yeah,
he plays with loads of players who aren't in their correct positions. Amrabat at left back. It looks so wrong. And then when he's trying to swipe at the ball, if he falls over, it's just a mess. And now Casemiro.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see. If he has a fully fit squad and he's playing the same way we are, then there will be questions asked.
There has to be. That's why. That's another thing. I had prediction on my channel that I had made during certain live streams, and I did predict. I think the first time I noted this prediction was in my match reaction, the game versus Bayern Munich. I predicted that Ten Hag's second half of the year, so you know, from January moving forward, the second half of the season, he was going to have an amazing second half to the season. That was my prediction, that we're going to finish the season strong, and you know, that was my prediction. But then that prediction was in line with what I'd been hearing, that you know, October, November times there'd be big news on the takeover, and I was predicting it to be Jassim. So I was expecting it that with Ten Hag, injury problems, I was hoping that would be solved by the latter part of this year, and it looks like we're slowly moving towards that potentially. And then you get Jassim in, coming in at the same time, so we got injuries, problems being resolved, and at the same time Jassim comes in and around the same period of the year. That's what I was predicting, and also obviously more time for his tactics to be implemented in the new style of football we're trying to play on the ball. I was thinking the second half of the season we're going to really kick into gear. But now, with this coming out, I'm not sure. And also with the fact that even at the time I made that prediction after the Bayern game, I was seeing that we were on the home run. I was still very much of the opinion that our home form was going to be amazing, continuing. So I was looking at our fixture list. I was thinking, you know, win, 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 win. We're going to keep winning. Jassim's going to come in. Injuries are going to be resolved. I was thinking, yo, the way is going to be looking up from here. But now what's happened? Losses, and more losses until we scumbag the win versus Brentford. Then I'm seeing Ratcliffe over Sheikh Jassim winning, and the injury problems are still slowly solving themselves, but still a couple of people out. Varane, I don't know what's wrong with him. Things like this are still happening. Licha is gone now. That happened since my prediction. So it looks like, yo, are we actually gonna have a great second half of the season? So will Ten Hag stay in the job?
I think he will stay in the job. I think he just needs more backing, not like backing as in he gets whatever he wants. I think he just needs more money spent in the club. I think if Ratcliffe comes in, he'll probably, I think in the January window, you'll see money being spent, but I wouldn't say to the extreme of 300 million. I would say a lot of money, but not 100 million, 300 million, because he's going to try and win over the fans. And then we could potentially see Ten Hag. Yeah, I agree with you. I could see Ten Hag doing a better job the second half of the season, because he'll probably have, you know, the players he wants and the players the board wants, and yeah.
Yeah, just I just don't really. I agree with you in that sense. I do agree with what you're saying in principle, but I just don't know what to say until we get the statement coming out. And you know what? This comment here from Pogba, he's just said here that, did you see Jassim's dad with the Goldman Sachs owner who is loaning money to Sir Jim Ratcliffe? What do you guys take from that? Is that, you know, just...
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I saw that. I mean, I don't get why he would be. I don't get how he would be United related, because you can't go to Goldman Sachs and just tell him they're loaning out money to Jim Ratcliffe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's just business.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any United related.
Yeah, I would say that it's just business, because at the end of the day, when you're a billionaire, you have the ability to go for the best of the best of the best in any field and walk of life. So why wouldn't a billionaire go to see the likes of a Goldman Sachs if he's got any sort of financial, monetary deals, loans, investments, sort of banking, some sort of banking deal or partnership he wants to involve himself with? Of course, you're going to go to the best of the best, which is one of them being Goldman Sachs, and any other billionaire would go to them as well. So that doesn't necessarily have to be anything to do with this Man United deal, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe would go to them. Of course, the Sheikhs would go to them as well because they're the best in the business. Yeah. Last thing I wanted to really touch on before we finish up is, how do you think? I have hope Qatar will still win, bro. Whether you've infected the fan base, man.
I mean, I'll still have hope Qatar will win until I know Sir Jim Ratcliffe signed all the papers. Which, for me personally, I think he needs to go through, making the minority shareholders and that happy.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to go through like the PL owner check thingy. He needs to do the funds, and I think that will all take. To be honest, I think that will all take around 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
The whole process, in my opinion, I think that will take to the end of November.
Don't think
until
that's
then. I still have. Yeah, but I think that is true though, because the way he's formatted his bid is weird, and it'll take a long time. So I'll have a hope
I think as soon
until
as it's ratified by the board, I think that's kind of it. Then you can't really bid. I think that effectively puts him as an exclusive bidder, and then Jassim can't touch him from there. Wouldn't matter if he bid 20 billion; they just can't do anything.
I mean, I'll still have hope that Qatar can come in and buy us until I see Sir Jim Ratcliffe sign the papers and everything's done. I'll still have hope until then. I mean, it's just a feeling.
I hear. You know what? Honestly, Worthy. Maybe I do actually agree with you somewhat, and I did. Some would say, I hope you hadn't told me the thing about the Newcastle owner, the Saudis coming in and buying Newcastle. The story about them not pulling out, and then at the last minute they actually ended up getting the club. The fact that you told me that did actually increase. I took a little bit of copium, not the whole dose, maybe half a dose after you said that. But we'll see. We'll have to see. We will see. And you know what? Like you said, until we see the statements, the dotted lines are signed, it's fully officiated, we get that here we go. Do we get that? Yo. I'll still
want to remind you something.
Yeah.
You remember the Ziliakis guy, I believe? The one who tried to buy Manchester United?
Yes, that where was he from?
He came out with a statement.
Yeah. What did he say?
New Zealand. I think it was New Zealand.
Finland, I think.
It was Finland. Yeah.
Finland.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, somewhere around that, yeah. So what gets me off with this Sheikh Jassim, he's not in the whole bidding process, is that when Ziliakis wanted to go out, he put a public statement. He's out of the race. He's not in it.
That is true.
On Twitter, I don't know if you call that a public statement.
I mean, that is still a public statement if you put it on Twitter. Even if he was on Twitter.
Who tweeted it though?
I don't even know if it was that serious. I mean, he was a bit of a clown.
He was a bit of a clown, to be fair. But who put the who put that statement out onto Twitter? Was that on his official Twitter? Was that on the official Twitter for his own? Okay.
Yeah. His own.
We'll see. But at the end of the day, it is still the weekend, and of course, since it is this, I don't know if in Islam, is Sunday like the Sabbath day as well? Is it not that way in Islam?
It's Friday. Friday's the holy day. It's the day you go to the mosque. Yeah.
Okay, Friday. But I was gonna say that it is still the weekend, and Sunday as well. The banks and sort of these larger organizations aren't really operating as much on the weekend, but particularly on a Sunday. So we will see maybe Monday this statement from the Qataris may come out confirming that they've withdrawn from the race, because obviously now the new business week has commenced again. They may come out with a statement of confirming this news, and that'll be when we can all proceed to take the coffin carrying Manchester United to its gravesite commences.
Yeah.
But yeah, last thing I wanted to comment on and have your opinions on this. If the statement from Jim Ratcliffe comes out and it suggests and you don't see in there real mentionings of what his long-term future plan is, in the sense of wanting to get like plans to develop Carrington, for example, not just the stadium but Carrington as well, and also him fully saying that he wants to buy the rest of the club. What would you guys think about that, or want done if you found out that he's not actually he's not fully confirming that he's going to buy the rest of the club in his statement?
I don't think he would do it. I think he will eventually take over the majority and then the 100%, because there's a lot of clubs right now who are looking for minority investors just to take shares. Daniel Levy is willing to give up some of his shares in Tottenham. So I'm sure that would have been a good proposition for Ineos, because they already sponsor Tottenham. PSG, I mean, I don't know about that because they're Qatari. So I don't know if he could exactly go and buy some of their shares. But I think eventually, I don't think he would have done the purchase without getting eventual control of the club. And with him having control over sporting matters, he practically already does control the club, because the Glazers are obviously, they're very good at their business and getting these big hit sponsors. I don't know how they still do it, but they are going to be able to get all the money in, and then Ratcliffe and Ineos are going to be able to, they have control over whatever money they put in. So if they put 500 million in, they control exactly where it goes and how it's used. I think, I just don't think Ineos would have done it without getting control eventually. I think if the Glazers said, okay, we'll give you 25%, but you can't do anything. That's it. You have no say. You sit here, and then maybe in 3 years you might get majority ownership. You might not. I don't think they would. Because Ratcliffe right now, I think, he owns the most shares out of anybody.
Yes, he would do, yeah.
With the way he's gone into the club, he is practically a seventh Glazer, because his Class B, if they're the stronger ones, they're the same. In the bylaws, they're the same. So it's kind of gone from 6 Glazers to 7. But I think eventually, it was mentioned 3 to 6 years for 100%. But that's a very broad, like,
that is broad, yeah.
3 years is 2027.
20, yeah. Fucking no.
Whatever you want to look at it. 6 years is 2030 or 2031.
Ooh, 2030, you know.
It's a big difference, considering when Sheikh Jassim would have come in, and by February have 100%. I do think eventually, I think within 2 years, Ineos will have full majority ownership, because once they're on the inside, I think they can just slowly pick off siblings one by one. I mean, Darcy has, I think, the second highest shareholder now of anyone. She's not even involved with the club. Let's say he buys her 18%. That's him instantly gone up to 43%. He owns almost half the club, and then he has to buy Brian or Edward. Like, the family, they're not united at all. They're all threatening to sue each other if they don't sell to this person
it's
or
true.
that person.
I've heard that, yeah.
I don't think they hate each other. The four wanted to get the guitar money because it was just them gone. They don't even control the club. They give all their voting rights to Joel and Avram. I think eventually they'll be the first to go. The four.
Yeah. It was only ever Joel and Avram that were planning to stay.
Last time, Joel and Avram go. Yeah, they'll go eventually. I think within 2 years, I think Ineos will have majority ownership. I think that'll be quick enough.
Yes. That is so worrying, man. Yeah, and I just don't. Will we win? I did say before that I don't think it's. I think we might be able to scum. To be honest, yeah, I do actually think it's possible for Man United to scum back a Champions League within the next few years, even with Ineos being was Sir Jim Ratcliffe being the owner, or whatever this ownership model he's gonna have is, whatever he'll be able to invest and whatever control he will take, the sporting structure that we hope he'll implement. I do think we can scum back the Champions League. Why? Because winning a cup competition is far easier than winning a domestic competition, especially depending on the league you're in. Winning the Premier League, I don't know if you guys agree with this. Would you agree that it's more difficult than winning the Champions League?
Yeah.
No, winning the Premier League is more difficult.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Would you agree that? Okay, so you'd agree that Premier League victory is more difficult than winning the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So, because the level of consistency it takes nowadays, with how many good teams are in the league, and the disparity still between the biggest teams and the smaller teams, and even the middle of the pack teams, anywhere between 6th and about 10th, are just so good and so competitive that you need to be winning what? Anywhere from, out of the 38 game season, you need to be winning anywhere from 32 to maybe 34 games and only lose 3-4 games max, sort of thing. Are Manchester United capable of winning about 85, 90, 95% of our games in the season? Winning. Impossible in my opinion. But can we, with a good football structure, manager that is competent, getting good enough players that are able to switch it on the Champions League night and beat an individual team on an individual night, home and away? I think we're capable of that with the right ownership and a good structure and some more investment. But winning the Premier League, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But Champions League, we may be able to scum back that. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Well, within when Ineos put out, when 9-2 put out their statements in February about the process, Ineos at the very end of there says, with a clear aim of winning the Champions League. They didn't mention the Premier League, just the Champions League. So I think we could win the Champions League because it's not as many games, and it's with a luck of the draw. So you could play some pretty poor teams.
Exactly.
Well, in relation to others, going to the final, you could play, Benfica, some other teams like
we could get
who are good teams, but not as good.
Exactly, we could get a group just like what Arsenal just had.
Yeah, or City, of course.
Oh yeah, well we know about them guys with the brown envelopes, innit? You know about them lot. Yeah, so that exactly. So you're exactly right. Literally, we'll just play the easier teams, and maybe until we get to the quarters or the semis before we draw a Bayern or we draw a Barcelona, who I assume in the next couple of years are gonna be getting better. Draw a Madrid in the semis, but then before that, and on an individual night with the right sporting structure and some decent investment over the next couple of years, I can't see why on an individual night we can't beat a Real Madrid. It's not impossible. Worst teams than us have beaten them. I think that is possible. So, but in the Premier League, which I think is going to be us from the Premier League, will truly be when Man United has finally arrived again, because that will prove that we were genuinely the best team in England. That will be when I can say Man United have actually arrived again, because we can't do anything but admit United are the best team in the country again. That only comes from winning the Premier League, not from winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say something. Just one last thing.
Go on.
This isn't takeover related.
Go on, feel free.
Yesterday, I got told that Gertrude.
Who?
Gertrude.
How do you spell the name?
He's GERTRUIDA.
Okay. The Dutch footballer, Gertrude. I can see him.
Yeah.
Dutch footballer, yeah.
I was told after the international break, he's United are going to start scouting him.
Okay.
Prepare him to scout him.
I see him, 23-year-old defender from Feyenoord. I assume he's a centre back.
Yeah. No, he's the right back.
He can play centre back, right back, and CDM.
Oh, so he's a right. Okay, yes, you're right, TJ. He's a right back, but yeah, like you say, whoever he can play across. See him, 6'1", Okay.
He's changed positions recently to a centre back, and he's looking solid as a centre back. When I look at PSV games, he's playing centre back or a right back.
Okay, that's interesting. Were you going to say something, TJ?
Well, I think Anthony and all them came from the Eredivisie, and Anthony was a great player.
Yeah.
And he's pretty shite now.
TJ's worried about the Eredivisie tax, yeah?
No, I'm not a fan of Eric Ten Hag's, Dutch Eredivisie signings. Or
You know what?
Hoyland's the only one I don't think he ever coached or anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
And
I'm worried about
the
it.
funny thing about the Hoyland one is even then, Hoyland's got the same agent as Ten Hag.
Yeah.
You see, there's always got to be a link with this guy. My bold manager needs a link.
Well, I think I think we need a sporting director of football who will actually go against Ten Hag. If he says I want this player, go, oh, yeah, he's a good player, but I don't think so. Like, the sporting director looks what's best for the club, not just the manager at that time. Like, when Klopp in, I think it was 2017 or 18, really wanted Julian Brandt, and he really wanted him. And then Michael Edwards said to him, "No, we're not getting him. I have a better player we can get." And then they went and got Salah.
Yeah, did the same thing and got Mane instead of there was another player Dortmund that he wanted, but he said no, and he said got Mane. I can't remember who that was. That doesn't really matter, but I'm echoing the same sentiment you just mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need a proper structure who will go against the manager if they need to, if they don't think he's making the right call and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? Just that topic there, that's something that we were meant to discuss yesterday, but obviously we had some technical issues. But tomorrow, what we'll be discussing is Erik ten Hag's signings, sort of rating the signings he's had so far, and also discussing how he sort of whether his talent ID is a problem at the moment. Whether his talent ID is a problem, whether what players you think we need to bring in, and what players we should be looking at in the transfer window. So positions and player profiles you'd be looking at in terms of bringing in. If you guys are available tomorrow.
Depends what time.
Yeah, it would probably be like an evening stream if you guys are around in the evening.
No, should be.
Yeah, we can just agree on the time. We can agree on the time later anyway.
Yeah.
Alright then, it was nice having you guys both on. Love again for the support and love for being on. Again, of course, taking some time out to come on the channel and give out your opinion.
Yeah.
Then,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it. Thank you.
What'd you say?
Thank you. I actually enjoyed the show.
Nah, no worries, man. Love TJ for coming on. Love Worthy for coming on. Look forward to have. Look forward to have more people from the Stretford Royals and external people coming onto the show. There are some people in that chat that talk a lot, but when I ask them to come on and give their opinion with their either face or voice or both, they're not trying to come on. There's a couple posers in there,
Chance Warrior, we know who you are. We know who you are. Absolute waffler.
Yeah, man. But I need some people. The man talk the most, But then when you call them out to come on, I'm hearing bare excuses. The guy just started ducking my messages. It's crazy. But anyway, it is what it is. Love again, you man, and peace out. Enjoy your evenings.
Yeah.
Cheers.